This is the Astrology and Tarot Show with Jessica Adams.
Thanks, Shane. This is your Astrology and Tarot for the week starting Monday, May 4. For timestamps for your sign and the signs of the people in your life, listen to this at the Astrology and Tarot Show on Substack at substack.com. And there you can also pick up a free daily horoscope, which we'll email to you. Now, if you have Aquarius factors in your birth chart, Pluto appears to be going backwards in Aquarius, which means a reversal with your friend and your group ahead. This happens from May 6, and the rest of May will be about retracing your steps. It might be your club, your team, your band, your social media, and so on. Watch the World Cup because football teams will also go backwards. By the way, watch out for me on SBS in Australia, giving my psychic astrology predictions for the World Cup soon. Your tarot this week is Aries, the Two of Wands, Taurus, the King of Pentacles, Gemini, the Three of Wands, Cancer, the Hermit, Leo, the Star, Virgo, the Ace of Swords, Libra, the King of Cups, Scorpio, the Ten of Pentacles, Sagittarius, the Devil, Capricorn, Strength, Aquarius, the Four of Wands, and Pisces, the Queen of Swords. Aries. Well, June will hammer home the point to you that the internet or the media, maybe communication in general at the most basic level, is now really unpredictable. Uranus in Gemini is here, so is AI, and also the pushback against AI, which is going to be extreme. Keeping it loosey-goosey with the internet and the media is wise because between now and the end of the year, so much for you is unprecedented and unexpected, to put it politely, and often it will overturn your plans. Now, right now, you'll see small signs of this online and in your other way of connecting with people, and there's more to come. What does it mean to have Uranus and Gemini in the third house? Well, you had a taster last year, but this is really the beginning of something that's going to become a way of life, and that is a computer, a telephone, a microphone, an internet connection that you can never predict from 1 month to the next, either because of the technology or because of the people or the organizations. Because you are all about being upfront, front and center, in the front lines of everything, this is very much about your profile online, your face and your name, of course, and it has been for quite a long time. But what's happening is going to free all that up. So you seem very likely to want to do things differently. Or if you are stuck in the past, you may find that life turns on a dime around you, and very suddenly you have to adapt and adjust to what's totally different and new. This cycle is also associated with freedom, independence, and also space. So if there is anything at all, Aries, about your reputation on the internet, your name, the names that you use, plural, and so on, you can expect to be offered something that looks a lot like freedom this week. Taurus. This Uranus and Gemini cycle, which began in late April, is now alive and kicking in your horoscope. Uranus is the radical change which sets you free. It takes years, but it also happens in your finance zone, and it's happening now. It grows in fits and starts like stormy weather, and you had a particular storm at the end of April and start of May, and here we are now as we go towards the middle of May. Over the next few weeks, there will be overdue deal-making over taxation, income, investment, shares, business, real estate, charity, and the rest of it. All of this is really down to your birth chart as well as what they call your solar chart, because both of them are saying that publicly and privately the old budget is going, gone. There are really obvious reasons for this if you read the papers, because of course many countries in the world are going through inflation as a result of what Donald has started in the Middle East. But whatever the reason is, you don't really care about that. You're more interested in how can I hang on to stability and security, because you are an earth sign, Taurus, you're grounded, and Taurus the bull sticks its hooves in the ground and would prefer not to budge. But what is happening is the reverse of that. And it is in your interest this week and all the weeks ahead of you to keep it as flexible and open as possible, and to be prepared to talk about financial or real estate change, even if you don't initially want to. Gemini. Uranus in Gemini, your own sign, is here with bells on this week in your zone of image, profile, title, reputation, label, and appearance. This is when long hair becomes short hair and vice versa, and bad boy reputation becomes good boy reputation. The moaner becomes the optimist. It all reverses and it flips upside down, which is what Uranus does. It is associated with the tilt or the sideways pivot. And in fact, that's the way that this planet rolls, according to NASA. In astrology, ever since its discovery, it's been associated with trying different things very, very differently in order to find out what freedom feels like. And this is very much now about your reputation or image. Russell Brand is a Gemini like you, and maybe he's using astrology here, but he's certainly been trying it out. However you would define breaking free from the past, surprising yourself and others, becoming an independent entity, doing it your way, whatever that means to you, it is on offer at the moment, and it will be on offer as you go right through June. Cancer. June is the month that the Sun in Gemini will join Uranus in Gemini for the first really long period of your life, and it will be about your inner life. So your definition of God, your rabbi, your therapist, your counselor, tarots, psychics, and solitude, and the rest, Christianity, alternatives to Christianity like paganism, anything that is about your inner self, including the subconscious mind and hypnosis. All of this is pretty new. You had a taste of it last year, but it didn't last. But now this cycle is really here to stay. So for you, it is about finding out who or what would set you free. Typically on this cycle, you find that the freedom and the sense of space comes through saying no and rejecting someone or something that was a way of life before that restricted you. The other option is not saying no, but saying yes, as you get on board with something or someone very new, which you find liberating. So this is the cycle when people might question religion, but also sign up for it. It really depends on what's been happening to you for the last few years. But Uranus in Gemini will have an impact on the inside. It's invisible. Nobody else can see it. There might be one other person that you confide in who is aware of what you're going through. But in general, it's about being alone and dealing with the wheels turning in new directions that you believe will set you free, and they will. Leo. Uranus in Taurus, the cycle just gone, in your zone of career, unpaid work, and academia, reshaped everything between 2018 and the early part of 2026. People, organisations, or situations which fenced you in are now history. Any role which confined you has been reframed or thrown out as the technology, the people, or the profession itself moved around you. You are now free from, insert a word here, or free through, insert another word here. The next thing that Uranus is going to do is liberate your social life. So really quickly, you're being asked to park the past where it was with your career, academic career, or unpaid work, and start thinking about friendship and about people power in a group. What it means to have Uranus in Gemini in the 11th house is that you have to set aside your assumptions, your expectations, even your prejudices about what a group, a club, or team might be, and about what friendship might be. That was then and this is now, and now it's going to come around pretty fast for you, Leo. Virgo. Uranus in Gemini, which I'm talking a lot about this week, is in your zone of ambition, mission, and position. It's a revolution that will set you and everybody else free. It has already begun, and you may be aware of that. However, by the time we get to July, there will have been one major sign-off or sign-on decision for you about your job, your role, your goal, be it unpaid, be it study, or be it that you are the CEO of your own company. Meanwhile, when we look at your chart, we see Pluto in Aquarius in your zone of work and workload, and that's also transformation. So this is monumental. You just don't have these two cycles at the same time. Hopefully it does not involve your health, your physical health or mental health, which will only happen if the only way to minimize or eradicate your role is to have challenges which take you out. That can happen on this cycle if you are really out of touch with your need to be free. You may find, for example, that an issue with your well-being will reduce the number of hours that you have to spend somewhere or even eliminate it altogether. For most of you, this won't be the case as you are already well aware of the need for change, and change will happen between now and June, suddenly and when you least expect it, setting you free. Libra. The Uranus and Gemini transit in your solar ninth house of foreigners and foreign countries is well underway this week, and the Sun is also in Gemini in June. So it becomes increasingly obvious that things are very, very different, no matter if you are traveling or traveling in the mind. It may involve university or college life, the internet or publishing. It may also be about a foreigner at home, at work, or your own plan to travel or emigrate. Uranus is always the revolution that liberates you and everybody else. The world turns upside down without warning, and suddenly everything is thrown up in the air, thrown sideways. This means liberation, freedom, and because you are free to invent things as you go along, there is no precedent to follow. What you're going to be doing with foreign people and foreign countries is unique, not just now, but ongoing. What it means to have Uranus in Gemini in the ninth house is to expect the unexpected. And if you are traveling, it's only sensible to have all cover insurance. Scorpio. With Uranus in Gemini and your zone of joint finance, real estate, and valuables, you will end this long cycle beyond 2030 with so many liberating, unpredictable, surprising results. It has already begun, and this week just moves you on a bit more. It also starts quite publicly for you with the Sun in Gemini. So by June, everybody is watching, listening, and reading because it's so obvious that this is very, very different for you. Uranus is about unexpected events which pull the rug with your money, business, house, apartment, shares, cryptocurrency, valuables, and the rest. It's very much about the other person or the other people. So it's about your partner or a relative, typically. There are variations on the theme, but when it comes to what you've agreed with these people, what the paperwork has done for you, the most important thing is to put a price tag on freedom and independence for you, she, he, or them, because it will need to be paid over the next few weeks. Sagittarius. Well, it's time to put aside any fond imagining about what publishing or the internet is actually all about, because from July, you'll be shown opportunities to expand and improve with the world of books or websites or social media that have not been possible in 12 years. You can ask the experts now, and when you can't do that, do scan professional organisations or community forums. It might be a YouTube community, for example. Then roll up your sleeves, and by the time you are ready for the luckiest cycle in 12 years that starts on June 30, you'll be ahead of the game. So update yourself. Whatever your interest is, you may be interested in writing, using video, audio. Whether you are interested in traditional publishing or something online, build a strategy now and reach into the luck when it begins from the end of June. It might be social media just by itself, which is micro-publishing. It may even be the big four standard publishers. What it means to have Jupiter in Leo in the ninth house for the first time in 12 years is that you have to use it or lose it, but that's okay. You should be optimistic enough to set a bigger goal by the time you get to July and August, and this cycle runs until the middle of 2027. Capricorn. The whole point of Jupiter in Cancer until June 30 is to help you expand your partnership, which may be work, platonic, or personal. So, for example, your marriage or a business double act. You can either expand it, or if there are issues, you'll be in a position to fix them that was not possible before. You have already been given a major opportunity to date. In fact, since 2025, it has been a case of use it or lose it, with a solution or an open door. Don't throw away the person or the situation. You only have until June 30 to use Jupiter. And don't let perfect get in the way of good. You would be amazed at people who had this cycle before you, who turned down an outstanding opportunity for a partnership because of a minor detail. It's on that level. And it's the same with expanding the partnership that you're already in. People who had this cycle before you will tell you that they regret getting into a delayed situation over something trivial. You have to stand back from this in a way and appreciate what he or she can do for you and is doing for you. Aquarius. Well, the month of June is liberating, highly unexpected, a little bit shocking, and tied to social change. Uranus is in Gemini, and it's already started for you, although the really big major change with a younger generation or a close relationship would not be evident until you get into the third week of June. This is really personal for you. It may be about pregnancy, parenting, even into young adulthood and younger people who you may have a professional involvement with. It's also about courtship and the bedroom. Your ruling planet Uranus, that great symbol of independence, is in Gemini in your 5th house, which is about those of you who have the young around you or coming into your world, but it is also very much about close relationships that could bring in younger people. You have not seen this cycle for such a long time in your adult lifetime, and it goes past 2030. What it means to have Uranus and Gemini in the 5th house of your chart is really about setting aside your preconceptions about what should happen or what you thought was going to happen with a younger generation or with close partners. Everything is now up for grabs. And the only key here is that it sets you free and sets other people free as well. Uranus is about the revolution that liberates. And as you are ruled by Uranus, Aquarius, the time has come for you to recommit to your own freedom. Pisces. These Pisces transits or cycles have been going on for years. In terms of your image, appearance, profile, the names that you use, plural, and how you appear physically. It may be your hair changing colour, or it may be photographs and film chopping and changing with the way that you're represented. You had no idea what was actually happening as you were moving in a different world, escaping from reality, but now reality is here. When you are concerned, or at least your exterior, you can farewell the Mercury retrograde delays or changes of April, which are now receding, and welcome June. In just a few weeks, you'll be free of a repetitive, recurring, stuck story about yourself. In fact, the North Node is out of your image zone from the final week of July. What it currently means for you to have the North Node in Pisces in your 1st house is that you are in a repetitive situation when it comes to the way that you look or appear. No matter what you do or say that you believe is going to change things, you find yourself back in the same scene of the same film. This isn't your fault, it's just the astrology. And as the North Node in Pisces is almost over, have a plan for the final week of July and the 1st week of August, when it genuinely, finally is possible for you to relaunch. At the moment, you are also one of those signs going through a possible personal cycle. If you have anything in Aries in your birth chart, you can double that message. 2026 is the year that you dramatically lose weight, or you use a different name. For example, get glasses or contact lenses, or attend to other matters of rebranding. That's all for this week. I'll catch up with you next week. Thank you for listening.